Good morning everyone, welcome to the first of 4 previews this week for the Cheltenham Festival that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try and get these done every day, day before, once we've got a good idea of ground and whatnot, and probably a good job I did wait to do it on Monday morning rather than Sunday morning, because an unexpected 10 mil of rain overnight at Cheltenham has turned the ground soft. From good to soft. Now it may well dry back tomorrow, but there are still 1 or 2 showers around in the area, and it wouldn't take much, just a minute or two to keep it soft. I think for tomorrow, I think we're more likely to soft on soft, good to soft than we are good to soft, if that makes sense. It doesn't really change a great lot tomorrow, I don't think, in the way of the races, because obviously the majority of these have been on soft ground for the majority of the winter, so it arguably would have been more interesting had it been on drier ground, but still, there we go, it is what it is. Listen, we'll rattle through 7 races. I'll try and keep it to about sort of 15 minutes if we can. Any longer than that, people tend to lose interest, I think. So, the supreme first race of the day, Appreciate It, is the right favourite, but he's far from unbeatable. There are others in here with form with sort of £2 or £3, namely of course Metier. The ground's come right for him. Ready winner of his last 2, including the Tolworth, which tends to get underrated these days as a trial for this. He was impressive that day. The form of that isn't fantastic, but the ground, as I say, has come right for him. It's probably not right for Soaring Glory. I think the rain hasn't done his chances any good. I think he'd have been happier on better ground. For Pleasure, similarly, he'll go herring off in front, but he probably wants better ground than this. The interesting one each way now, if the dead 8 stand up, it'd be Blue Lord, who's got 6 lengths to find with Appreciate It on the Leopardstown form last time. But I think it's interesting that they're rolling the big dice and having a go at the Supreme rather than taking him down the handicap hurdle route, which they could have done off a marker 145. It would have been very well handicapped. But because they're having a go here, he was one of 2 horses really that came out of the Dublin Racing Festival with Cheltenham handicaps written all over him. He was one and Ganapathy was the other. It does look like they'll go down the handicap route now with Ganapathy, so he'll be interesting later on in the week. But I thought Blue Lord, ground will be ideal. He stays a bit further than 2 mile. If they go quick, the quicker they go, I think the better his chance, and the hill at the end. I can see him getting closer to Appreciate It. Whether he can beat him or not, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. But I think you're going to get reasonable each way value for your money at around about sort of 10, 12 to 1. He should give you a run. So he'd be my each way selection in the first. There isn't really a bet, I don't think, in the second, the Arkle. Now we've just got the 6 runners, and we only had 4 runners until very late on, about 9:58. They threw Eldorado Island in and knew me tall, because I think they basically realised that they only have to stand up to pick some prize money up. The Shishkin is obvious enough now. 1 to 2 though is not the sort of price that you really want to be taking about any sort of novice chaser really in whatever race. All Mankind will have his chance in this small field. He's only £4 worse on the official ratings than Shishkin. It's not like there's a gulf between them, and that's really only 1 or 2 good jumps. Now you can see what they're going to do with All Mankind tomorrow. It's not difficult to work out what the tactics are going to be. Harry Skelton is going to have him at the front, and he'll do like he did at Sandown in the Henry VIII. It's going to be, he's literally coming into the tape as it's going up, beer the bang, and he's away. And he'll try and take 4 or 5 lengths out of these on the run down to the first, wing that, get him in a rhythm. And I think if he's still got that 5-length lead, 3 out, game on at that point. I think he's got a real big chance. Ground's absolutely fine for him. He jumps really well. People were trying to crab him for Warwick. That he made a couple of mistakes, but that ground at Warwick was really. I was there that day. It was really tacky, and Harry got off him, and I spoke to him, and he just that's not him. He said his wheels were spinning a couple of times there on that ground. He couldn't get any purchase when he's a better jumper than that, and I think the ground tomorrow should be absolutely fine for him. At worst, I think he's a back to lay, and by that, if you're not familiar with Betfair, back him beforehand, lay him off in running, you make a few quid out of him that way and leave a bit for the win as well. I think that's probably the way to play All Mankind. Good race, but not necessarily a betting race. But the ultimate definitely is a betting race. 16 runners this year, only 16. Sky Bet again, first 7 each way, first 7. Have a think about that for a moment. We've now reached a point where if you finish virtually in the top half of a field, you're going to get a return for your each way money. Madness. And you know what? The more you look at this race, the more you think this should be the one race tomorrow. Even if you just got 5 places, if you haven't got a Sky Bet account, you've got 5 places with the rest of the event, or 6. This is a race to get stuck into, because going down, you can put the red pen through, I think, quite a few of these on various grounds. Sipage, Trip, I don't think he stays. I Right, Track, not sure. Best form on flatter tracks. He ran all right here behind Champ last year, but I know he was outclassed that day, but I'm not sure. Pim Ground, he has won on soft, but I think he's probably a bit better on good to soft good, so I'm not keen on him. OK Corral probably goes at gas to be considered. So too Milan Native, very much so actually Milan Native now the rain's come. Happy Go Lucky, obvious. Al Nadam, well, take your pick. I mean, never run at Cheltenham. Trip's a big question mark for me. It was impressive at Sandown, but whether he wants this far or not, I don't know. Delir d'Astrval, Trip, not keen. Discordantly, Trip, question mark, I'm not sure. Admiral's Secret, so many question marks. Class, Trip, question marks. The Wolf wants better ground, surely, and the Trip. Nietzsche's a 2.5 miler. Super Soup's finger on the switch, not good enough. You can knock half of this field out, I think. So with that, this should be a race, as I say, you get stuck in on. I think the front two of the right two, two of the front two of the right two. Happy Go Lucky is the right favourite here, obviously. Been very impressive. Loves Cheltenham. Still on a reasonable mark. 147 looks more than workable, and this has clearly been the plan for some time. Won here in December, and then they put him away since. I don't think that's any bad thing. He's won fresh before as well, so he's got a lot going for him. I can see money coming from Milan Native now the rain's come. I think he probably needed it, and he's got it. He will stay and stay. I can't see him not being in the first sort of 4 or 5 if he runs his race. He's 8-1 at the moment. I think that's a reasonable each way poke. I can see him going off shorter than that. I could see him going off sort of 6-1, 11-2 tomorrow. So I think he's interesting. And at a big price, if you want one at a big price, maybe Vintage Clouds, who's run one in this race a few times. He disappointed last year, but that was off 151, and he's not that sort of a horse. He's not a 150 plus horse. He's a 140 plus horse, and he's £8 lower this year. I think Sue Smith's not had a great time of it. Sue and Harvey Smith have had a moderate year by their own high standards, but it was just a little bit better last time from Vintage Clouds. He's got cheek pieces on. I don't know. I mean, he's 11 years old and putting cheek pieces on for the first time. What that's going to do, I don't know. It might do nothing. But it's his second time after a wind operation. That's sometimes the time to catch him. There's just enough there. 20-1 is the price, and that's the minimum I'd be wanting, given he hasn't really shown a lot this season. But there are reasons for thinking he could bounce back, particularly now the rain has come. That will help him no end. That will help him. So, again, Vintage Clouds in an open race. Maybe your each way poke, but I think Milan Native is the one I'm leaning to. I won't spend long on the Champion Hurdle because I think the market's got it absolutely bang on. I think Honeysuckle is by far and away the likeliest winner. Everything's right for her, and that rain is not going to do her any harm at all, because we know she stays 2.5. She's got that requisite bit of stamina that you need to win this race. The fact that she's just getting the mare's allowance as well is just the icing on the cake. Even off level weights, I think she'd be hard to beat. Epatante, disappointing at Christmas, not seen since. I probably think that's a good thing. Although they said that they'd found an issue with her back at that point. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Something was clearly bothering her that day, and if it was her back, that's not a positive to me. Silver Streak probably wants better ground. Sharjah will be ridden cold out the back for the places. Soldier isn't good enough. Not So Sleepy might go up front with Goshen and maybe Silver Streak as well. I know there's only 9 runners, but the 3 of them could be at it tomorrow. Goshen is an absolute enigma. I can't work him out. Some of his runs he looks really good. He looks like a world beater. Some of his runs on the flat he looked slow. He came back to form at Wincanton last time, but what that form's worth, I'm not so sure. He was getting £6 off the second, who didn't act on the track anyway. Time was all right. It wasn't anything outstanding, and he's going to be jumping out to his right here. And if he's not got rid of him by 3 out, I think he's in trouble. If that's where he needs to be winning his race, where he does the middle part of the races. A Spy Tower I can't really have. Abracadabras will be ridden for, be ridden cold, and he'll be thereabouts at the end. But Honeysuckle for me all the way here. Then the mares, which again isn't a race that takes a great lot of working out, I don't think. Although Bet Victor going each way first four, that opens it up a little bit for the outsiders. One of my better anti-post bets of the week, given that 2 or 3 have already gone down the Swanee this Tuesday. Let's count them. Lieutenant Rocco for the Ultima, gone. Song for Someone for the Champion Hurdle, gone. What's the other one about something else? Well, there's 3 anyway. There's 3 that's already bitten the dust before we even get to the mares. But hooray! My 16 to 1 each way Roxana's looking all right here now. He says probably finished 4th. I thought after she finished 3rd in the long walk that when push comes to shove and they have to sit down and make the decision, everything went right for her that day in the long walk. She got the run of the race. She travelled like the best horse. She had Paisley Park cooked coming to off the bend. She left him for dead, and she still couldn't win. She was still beaten 2 lengths. And I think when they sat down in the light of day and they thought, what race can we actually win? I think they can win the mares. I don't think they could have won the stayers. I don't think they could have won the stayers. I know that's a big thing to say, but for me, I'm just sort of trying to look at it from Dan Skelton's point of view. Which race has she got the best chance in? And this now, really, she's got Concertisa probably to beat to win herself another Grade 1. This is not a strong event. When you look at what she got beat by last year, Honeysuckle and Benedict, what were they rated? One high 150s and low 160s, the pair of them. Nothing like that in here this year. This is a weaker event. And we know Roxana's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. She's looked good this year. It's not that she doesn't stay 3 miles. She does stay 3 miles, but she gets it not quite in Grade 1 company, if you see what I mean. She almost sort of like gets 2 miles, 7.5, 2.7 in Grade 1 company, but not that 510 yards. So I think this is ideal for her. There's nothing between her and Concertista on form. They both bring good Cheltenham form to the table. Both will act on the ground. There's very little between them. You can still argue at 3 to 1 that there's some mileage in that price. I'll give a mention for Floressa, for those of you that are looking for the each way 4 places. I didn't think she was quite on a game at Doncaster, and she looked just short of a run or 2 to me. I was there that day. She jumps really well, Floressa. Trip's a concern more than it is the ground. I think the ground will be okay. I know the form's on good to soft, but she has been placed on soft, and it was sticky enough at Doncaster that day as well. So the trip's obviously the concern with Floressa, but if she gets 2.5, she could see herself in the 4. She might be the one. Boodles, Fred Boodles, pass. No real interest. I think it's the race. It's a race I don't play unless I'm there at the festival and I can see them and look at them physically. At that point, I start getting a little bit more interested, but I just haven't got any interest in this, I'm afraid, from a betting point of view. I know, having spoken to Rory, he's put 1 or 2 up for the race, but I've got no real interest. If you're looking for one at a price, maybe Tina Haller, who was a ready winner. She beat En Public at Catterick last time, and the rain's come in time for Tina Haller. He wants it soft. He might go all right. He's a big price, but he's literally a stab in the dark in a race that, as I say, I don't really pay a fat lot of attention to. However, the Last Hunt Chase, here's some fun and games. 3 mile 6 in soft ground, last race of the day. This will take a bit of getting this. And will Galvin get the trip in this ground? He'd have got it on good ground, definitely, or good to soft. Soft ground, I don't know. The temptation is to lay him at 2 to 1. I could see him drifting a little bit. And I could see money for Next Destination because the soft ground will suit him. And he's got Cheltenham form. And he is this class. And he looks like he'll stay because the way that he was strong from the last at Warwick, when he, Fiddler on the Roof nearly got alongside him at Warwick at the last, and then he, and Fiddler on the Roof's a good stayer in his own right, and he went away from him after the last. He really dug deep and found more, and he looked like a thorough stayer. I could see the 2 of them, Galvin and Next Destination, going off quite close tomorrow. 5 to 2 each of 2, possibly. So I think of the front 2, I'm with Next Destination, and I'm against Galvin. I like Ascari 10, nice horse. I think there's more to be won with him. But he's the right price, not overpriced. I'll throw 2 in at big prices, neither of which you'll like. the Mighty Don, his jumping is not very good. He's careful over them. He doesn't attack his fences in the same way that one or two of these will. He just sort of, he gets from A to B in his own way. But having said that, he's got plus points, namely this Cheltenham Hill, which he loves. He's come up this time and again really well in big handicaps here over the years, and he did again when he was second to Happy Go Lucky here in December again. And his jumping was all right that day. He jumped the Cheltenham fences okay, not brilliantly, but he didn't make any mistakes, and he got round, and I think that's a key point. He did get round, and he really did rattle home from sort of 3 out, and he got beat 3 lengths at the line, and again, you know, he powered his way up the hill. Excuse me. If he's there, and again, if he's sort of within 20 lengths of the leaders 3 out, you might get your return for your each way money. And similarly, you won't like it, but you know, if you can get 3 figures about Lithic, yeah, I know, I've not lost the plot. But look, the one horse in the field that you can go, that definitely gets home, is Lithic. We saw him run earlier in the season in one of those ridiculous events at Exeter where they go round and round over 3 miles, 6.5 furlongs, and there, you know, he was ridden absolutely cold, travelled as well as anything, came to join the leaders, and then did what Lithic does, which is not win. He's happy to let others win, but as I say, he will stay, he will act in the ground, he'll be ridden absolutely stone cold for places, and you can get 3 figures and you can get 5 places. He's worth a swing. I don't think he can win. Can he finish in the 5? Yes, he can. Yes, he definitely can. They're changing the cheek pieces for a visor tomorrow to keep him sweet. This is the 3rd change of headgear he's had in about 12 months. But he's that sort of horse. He's quirky. He doesn't really want to go through with his effort when push comes to shove, but he will be thereabouts, and you're getting 20 to 1 for a place. 5 places. Told you wouldn't like it. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the preview for Wednesday's decks, which are through now, and I'm going to go and start on them. Best of luck tomorrow, guys. Have fun.